everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Heartland Franchise Guy, your insider's guide to all things franchising in the local area. I'm Blake Martin, local small business franchise owner, and your Heartland Franchise Guy. This is the place for advocacy, resources, and education on all things entrepreneurship in the local area, and it's a great place for entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs to stop by if they're just looking to learn more about the franchising industry. Today's guest is somebody who is in the franchising industry, RJ Meade, owner of Goldfish Swim School. Thanks for joining us, RJ.
Thanks for having me, Blake.
Absolutely. So a couple of topics that I wanted to dig into after we learn a little bit about who you are. But you are a long-distance franchise owner, or were a long-distance franchise owner, and you're in the process of opening up another location. So I'm really interested in hearing about those experiences. I'm sure that absolutely nothing's ever gone wrong and everything goes totally smooth and you're doing those two things, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, first, RJ, can you tell me a little bit about what's your professional background?
Sure, Blake. I'm originally from Chicago. I live in Chicago. And
What part of Chicago?
Elmhurst, Illinois, western suburb of
Absolutely.
by O'Hare. And I've lived there my whole life. I started at the Chicago Board of Trade. I've been a member there for over 20 years. And I was just kind of looking for something else to do after my trading career ended, and I went down the rabbit hole of franchises and started researching small businesses to get into. So.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody introduce it that way. I went down the rabbit hole of franchises.
It wasn't planned. It wasn't 10 years ago. I wouldn't ever imagine being here, but it's been a great journey. And my first store opened 4 years ago here in Omaha, and we just opened our second one about a month ago in December in Papillion. So.
Well, congratulations, and we are going to talk about that. Going back to your comment, though, how did you get to the rabbit hole? What got you into researching franchises in the first place?
Well, I wanted to own my own business. The trading world is basically you're entrepreneurial. You take on your own risk. I worked independently for myself, trading government bonds.
Yep.
So I had the good fortune or bad fortune of never really having a boss. And so when that career ended, or that opportunity kind of closed, I was out and about looking for something to get into where I could have ownership and influence in the organization.
Interesting. So why franchising?
Well, one, I know nothing about marketing, and I'd be the first to admit it. But also, many small businesses go under, and I feel like I needed the support of a franchise with marketing operations and stuff like that. I've never undertaken something like this and managed a lot of people and stuff like that. So the support is critical in franchising. Yeah.
So be on the good side of the business success statistics, right?
That's the goal. Yes, absolutely.
By the way, try to say that 3 times on a podcast. Business success statistics.
I'm not even going to attempt it.
Got about halfway through that one and realized,
business success statistics.
Yeah, I might. She sells. Started to gyrate on that question and thought, I wonder if I'm going to get through this one. All right. So, anyways, you got into the rabbit hole, so to speak, and clearly you've had some success with it. But to one of the points of the conversation that I think makes you unique, you still live in Chicago. The first and now soon to be the second Goldfish Swim School. Oh, look, I did it. I didn't do it on the other one. Goldfish Swim School locations. You have one here in central Omaha, and you're opening up one in Papillion, but you live in Chicago.
Correct.
What on earth gave you the confidence to own a business? What is that, 550 miles away or whatever?
464 door to door.
You're counting.
Well, the Chicago market for my product, Goldfish Swim School, which my 3 children went to, the Chicago market was taken, and I started looking in central time zone of what logistically I could get back and forth and kind of have my hands on and be available to grow the business. And so I researched a lot of information about demographics and stuff like that, and I started driving around Omaha and kind of fell in love with the growth and opportunity and Midwest town. So that's how I ended up in Omaha.
Well, that's a good story. I'm glad to hear that. Kind of similar to mine. We'll have to tell that story someday. But so on the business operations side, I mean, obviously you had to have a certain level of confidence that I'm living here, but I'm going to run the business there. So you can't be there running it day to day. Obviously, there was things you had to put in place, right?
Yep, absolutely. So I've built up over 4 years a pretty strong team of management, and I kind of know my strengths and weaknesses, and my
Has marketing become your strength?
my team handles a lot of it, but
Gotcha.
it's a lot of trial and error too. But yeah, no, I figured if I could build the right team, and it takes time, but build the right team that can execute the vision, then I could be out in the community and kind of business development, and so
Yeah.
I like the scale of this brand, and as far as that, you could have managers run the school, and I could not be hands off. I'm very very involved in the day to day, but
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't physically have to be in the store all the time.
Yeah. So kind of, like you said, you don't have to be present, more of a semi-absentee role on the operations side, but you're out there building the business. When you started it, how many years ago did you open up the first location?
March of 2019.
Ooh, wow. Yeah, okay. So, but you had some hopefully some experience in place before COVID hit, right?
Yeah, it was a blessing that we were open for a year, so at least some people knew who we were. And 2020, I'd rather not talk about or dwell on at this point, but that was a speed bump for many small businesses and
Absolutely.
and everybody actually. So, but when we came out of that and started to see the growth after into 2021, we knew it was the right product, and just maybe 12 to 18 months slower than we anticipated. But
Right. Were you here full time in the Omaha market in early 2019 when you opened things up for the first Omaha location?
I was here quite a bit. Yeah, one of my managers left me after 6 weeks opening, so
That's awesome.
I ended up having to strap on the hat and take over and run the store for about 3 to 4 months till I found replacement management, and that was definitely a struggle.
I bet it was. Yeah. So then you continued to grow it, and now do you have kind of a system or a sequence for the frequency that you're in the market?
It's kind of it's on an as needed basis, but with the new store opening, I'm here quite a bit to get that ramped up, and but I'm here pretty regularly currently, and once it gets to the right point, hopefully I can back off a little bit. But
Yeah. What advice, if you think back on the things that went well, what enabled you to successfully own this and grow it, the first location, without having to move here to Omaha? If somebody came to you and said, I need some advice on what needs to be in place or what do I need to do in order to own and operate a franchise in a market that I don't live in, what are maybe the top 3 things you would tell them?
Number one, I tell them that it's going to take a lot more time than they envision. All the FDDs and all that stuff are rosy and all that, but the reality is it's a lot more hands-on, and to see it succeed at the way you want it to, you got to put the time in.
Yeah. Good answer.
And then, finding the right people is critical to the success of the business, getting the right pieces in place and stuff like that. So,
what have you done to keep the right people? I know, and I'm asking that because I've been in your location, and you've got some continuity there with your team. Congrats on that.
Yeah, it's we had a little bit of management turnover, and we have some new management this past year with the new store. But treating people well, Goldfish, we have our core values, and that runs everything, kind of how we operate as a business on the internally, externally with customers and stuff like that. But treating people with integrity and compassion and trust, which is one of our core values. That's my favorite one. But seeing the needs of the employees or teammates more than employees. I don't like the term employees because without the team, I'm on my own and would have to do everything, right? And you need buy-in from employees.
Yeah, for sure.
So
before we get too far into this, so let's talk a little bit more about Goldfish Swim School. I said it correctly that time. Just took me a couple chances. What exactly do you offer? And by the way, how do people get a hold of you if they want to be a customer of yours?
Well, we have a website. We have phone numbers, obviously.
You have a website? No way.
Goldfish Swim School is a franchise started in Birmingham, Michigan about 16 years ago. I should know the exact time, but it's grown to 142. I might be off on that. It's 141, 142 locations in the United States. We teach children 4 months to 12 years old how to swim. That we offer perpetual lessons. There are weekly lessons. We believe kids learn best by repetition and continuity. Like in school, you got to build the foundation. And we also offer birthday parties and so you can rent out our whole facility on the weekends. And one of my favorite initiatives we do is we have a water safety presentation. So we can bring our mascot Bubbles. He's a giant orange fish to daycares or preschools or any youth activity, and we hand out goodie bags and talk about water safety because drowning is statistics are pretty bad on that. It's the number one cause of death 0 to 4 years old. Accidental deaths, and it's the number 2 cause of death from 0 to 15 of accidental death.
Goodness. There's number 1 cause of accidental deaths 0 to 4 is drownings?
Yep. There's about
wow.
It's about 11 people a day in the United States drown, and 62% of adults don't know how to swim, and it's really
62%?
I think that's the number these days.
Whoa. So I mean, like if that's anything over 50, I'm surprised. Wow.
So that's our focus is water safety and getting working with the community and getting out in the community and supporting schools and stuff like that, and just bringing awareness to drowning.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that. We've known each other for a while, and honestly, I never really thought about just how important your service is to families. I mean, that put a little chill down my spine thinking about my 9-year-old who's in swimming classes. Or was in swimming classes this summer. I think he's going to be going to Goldfish Swim School now.
I'd appreciate it, Blake.
Yeah, that's wow, that's chilling, but I guess it does happen. So glad you guys are out there to drive those statistics down.
We're trying.
Yeah. So people can get a hold of you through your website, etc. I'll ask the obvious softball question because I think it's an important one. I can take my kid to the Y, probably pretty inexpensive. Why go to Goldfish Swim School?
Our curriculum is what sets us apart. We have 140 stores. We teach almost 200,000 kids how to swim each week in the United States. I have 3 children that have been through Goldfish's program. Every kid learns at a different pace, and at Goldfish we accommodate. It's not a session based, and as kids progress and move up, we move them into the right classes. I've seen the success of my 3 children personally, and how they developed, and they were all very different. My daughter wouldn't put her head in the water for a year and a half, so she was a beginner.
Yeah.
Some parents, might say, "Oh, this is not working, or it's a waste of money," and it's like, nah. She finally caught on, and then she plowed through our program in about a year from beginner to out of the program at 7 years old, basically. So I know it works. The curriculum's great. My customer service, we're very flexible. If you can't make it classes for any reason, we put makeups on your account, and we want you to use what you're paying for. It's not going wasted. So we have the nicest facility. We have the most class offerings in the community, and it's just a great product, and I've seen a lot of success at my stores, which is the most gratifying thing.
It is a beautiful facility. So, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Love the story about your daughter. So, she plowed through it in a whole year and was basically graduated at age 7, huh?
It's pretty impressive. I've seen all sorts. Some kids are still with us 2-3 years later. Other kids that have in and out in less than a year, and all different levels of every child's different. So,
indeed, I would agree with that. And that applies to, anything athletically based, right? Anything as far as hand-eye coordination. So, at least for kids.
Yep.
So the $1 million question that I wanted to make sure we got asked on this episode was, if you had it to do over again, a long-distance franchise ownership, and say it was the same thing, right? Something that you're already a customer of, would you do it?
Yes, I probably would. I love what I do. I think I lucked out with the franchisor. It's been a good partnership with them, and I found the right brand. But I would advise that you have to be willing to put the time in and get your hands dirty, because you cannot just open anything and just, it's not going to pop or explode like you think it will without some involvement in it. So
yeah, I appreciate your honest insight there. Yeah. That's not the first time that's been shared on this podcast.
I can imagine.
So thank you very much for sharing with us, RJ, on what it's like and that honest feedback on if you do it over again in regards to expanding and being the owner of a franchise long distance. That's going to wrap up our episode for today, but there's so much good stuff with RJ. For our audience's sake, we're going to come back with another episode with RJ talking about his expansion to a second location with the same franchise system. So thanks to all of you for joining us. Thanks again to RJ for being part of one of 2 episodes here. And we will see you again soon on another episode of the Heartland Franchise Guy. Remember, if you got questions for RJ, for Goldfish Swim School, or for us, just scan the QR code on the bottom of your screen there. That'll get you in touch with us. We'll be happy to get you your answers. And don't keep us a secret, right? Swim our information out there like a little goldfish. Share, subscribe, and follow us, especially if you know somebody that could really get benefit from this. We'll see you here again soon on the next episode of the Heartland Franchise Guy.